I want to talk to you today about a young girl. And this girl isn't like most girls her age. In fact, she's not like most people. By the age of 16, she trekked to the base camp at Mount Everest. She taught herself how to ski so she could ski to the North Pole. And then as she was kind of preparing for her ski trip to the South Pole, she received a message on the internet from somebody, and this was posted to her. "Make me a sandwich." Nowadays, that might be considered normal behavior. But when complaining on the internet is considered normal, it's time to embrace the weird. When Wonder Woman was supposed to be released back in 2011 as a TV series on NBC, there was an instant major backlash online of people who didn't approve of Wonder Woman wearing star-spangled biker shorts. And as a result, the series was never picked up, and we wouldn't see Wonder Woman again until years later on screen. So, why are there trolls on the internet? Well, there are a number of reasons. First, because trolls are anonymous. You could say whatever you want on the internet anonymously without any repercussions. Another factor is called the spiral of silence theory. Imagine you're at a party and you're surrounded by friends who start talking about a politician that you don't like. You'll feel more inclined to talk openly about that politician because you won't feel ostracized by what other people are thinking. When you feel like you're surrounded by friends, you'll speak more freely. Quite often, there is a mob mentality online, where everybody likes to jump into whatever they believe other people online feel. And without being identified and without repercussions, the gloves come off and the internet flaming begins. Today it's becoming more and more rare to see a supportive statement at the bottom of the message boards, right after "first" and all the other things.
Looking for a city where we'll never die.
Back in 2012, there was a man listed on YouTube as the worst singer ever. And all he was doing was trying to sing a rendition of an old gospel hymn called "Looking for a City." And all you saw on the message boards were things like, "My ears are bleeding," or "If he was a locksmith, he's great at inventing keys." Nobody wrote down that they're applauding him for getting up there in front of people and trying his best. So you encounter something online that's weird, or embarrassing, or funny, or weirdly embarrassing and funny. What do? I guess it all comes down to empathy and common decency. If you put yourself in their shoes, just imagine, would you consider your comment funny if it was you? Or appropriate? So imagine, if you will, having to give a speech, and you're up in front of a bunch of people giving the speech, and you're giving it your all, you're doing your very best. And when it's all over, you're really proud of yourself for all you've accomplished, and that's when somebody comes up to you and says, "Did you know your fly was down the whole time?" Now you're mortified, and you don't want anybody to remember anything about that. And all because of that wardrobe malfunction, you're hoping they didn't even notice that and they only focused on the speech itself. And the last thing you want to do is find a picture of yourself the next day on the front page of the news. Even though you're proud of your speech, that one mistake has overshadowed everything else you were trying to do. When people put themselves out there to share their ideas, their realities, express who they are, they want you to see what they have to offer the world. Clouding their sunshine just doesn't help anyone. And it's a pretty cruel and selfish way of trying to attract the wrong kind of attention.
Thank you, Bill. Cruel and selfish are the perfect words to describe this type of behavior. Comments made in forums and the comment sections of different websites or on social media can be harmful, but not only can they hurt people's feelings, make people feel terrible, make people feel ashamed for something that they should be proud of, it also has real life consequences. Like Bill mentioned, because enough people complained about Wonder Woman, that TV show will never come out. It's one of those things that probably doesn't seem that important, but the point is, enough people complained about something that other people who may have been excited for it are now deprived of it. There's a reason why internet culture doesn't really have that great of a name nowadays. And Bill's right. A big reason is because people can stay anonymous. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, what You guys have told me what the problems are, but what are the possible solutions? You can easily go online and look up lists of how to not be an internet troll. But I've looked at these lists, and in my experience, I think it all boils down to two basic things, in my opinion. One, and Bill mentioned this already, empathy. When you're making a comment online, or when you're mentioning something online, or when you're talking to someone, think of how you would feel in that moment. Try to see yourself or your actions through the other person's eyes. Try to think about what they're experiencing. What are they afraid of? What are they embarrassed about? What are they probably thinking about? And try to think about how they would feel about your comment that you made. Now, when you look up these lists online about how to not be an internet troll, one of the things is often do not engage trolls with troll-like behavior. You can be filled with righteous rage, where you know that you are right, and you know that they are wrong, and you will make them sure of it online. But unfortunately, in the world of the internet, at the end of the day, both parties look bad. And even if someone makes you so angry, and someone says something so offensive, saying something angry and offensive back to them does not solve the problem at all. Once again, empathy is one of the key things to help combat this dangerous internet culture. The second thing is, and it goes along with empathy, everything is somebody's favorite thing. And when I say everything, Bill and I have been talking about things in pulp culture, such as Wonder Woman, for our example. And I like to go back to pulp culture again. After seeing Star Wars Episode 1, I was a young kid, I walked out of the theater, and I thought it was a phenomenal movie. I loved it. I thought it was great. It was everything I loved about Star Wars, and it was actually the first Star Wars movie I got to see in theaters, because I was a younger kid, and the original trilogy had come out before I was born. I thought the movie was great. And there was one character in particular that I loved. Jar Jar Binks. I honestly thought he was such a funny character. He reminded me of Goofy from the Disney series. Oh shucks, what's he gonna do? Uh-oh, Jar Jar, you're in this room full of things. I told you not to touch anything. What's he gonna end up doing? Uh-oh, shenanigans are happening. I ate it up with a spoon. I thought it was great. Around the time Episode 1 came out, I got my first computer. My family did. I went online. I'm excited to see what does the internet say about this movie I love. And the internet essentially told me, you are stupid for liking Episode 1. You are not a true fan. And how dare you like Jar Jar Binks because he's the worst thing ever. And if you go on internet forums today, a lot of people still have the same opinions, that the Episode 1 and the prequels weren't good movies. If you like them, you're not a true fan. Jar Jar was just for the kids. Well, to go back to that second point I mentioned, everything is somebody's favorite thing. And that goes for Episode 1. A lot of people love Episode 1. And if you do not enjoy it, someone else does. That also goes for Jar Jar Binks. I am a children's librarian. I work at a library where I work with a lot of children, and I will tell you now, a lot of kids that I talk to love Jar Jar Binks. And as an adult, who's to say that your opinion has any more weight than a child's opinion or anyone else's? Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, but no one's opinion has more weight than anyone else's. This is how opinions work. It's just what you're thinking. So two basic things. Empathy. How would the other person feel? And how do they feel after seeing what you've put online or what you're thinking of putting online, if you stop yourself? And two, everything is somebody's favorite thing. Those two things will guide you on your way. Now, call me naive, but I believe if people try to follow just these two rules, the internet would become a more friendly, more empathetic, more caring, more inclusive place. Last year, after the 2016 presidential election, which was, I know, a tough time for everyone. And when I say everyone, I don't mean just one side of the aisle, or if you wish someone else had won the presidency. It was tough for everyone, even if the person you were rooting for ended up winning. It was a contentious time, and to be honest, those political divides are still there online, and they are infecting everything online, even if it is a message form about Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Because of this, I started a podcast with my friend Tess called Same Team Y'all. You can find it at sameteamyall.com. It's a podcast where basically me and Tess, two children's librarians, talk about stuff that we love, tales from the library, because we believe it's a cornerstone of our democracy and a very important place for communities all around the world, and life lessons that we've learned throughout our week. It is our very small way of trying to make the world a better place. When big events happen, it is easy for us to all feel small. But knowing that you are making small changes to a giant culture, in this case the internet culture, makes you feel better. I'm trying to make the world a better place with my podcast. All it is us trying to put out good vibes, focusing on things that we love. The philosopher Alan Watts says all of life is an ink blot test, don't you know? Or he once said when he was alive. And I believe that's true. Focusing on things that you love instead of things that you hate or things that you hate about other people will make the world seem like a better place. And by following this creed and the two things I mentioned, empathy and everything is somebody's favorite thing, I believe slowly together we can make the world and internet culture a better place for everyone.
Earlier I told you about a young woman named Jade who traveled to the North and South Pole and was told by an internet troll to make him a sandwich. Do you know what she did? She posted a picture of herself at the South Pole holding a ham and cheese sandwich. She told him, "Now ski 37 days and 600 kilometers to the South Pole and you can eat it." You see, we're blessed in this world by a lot of people who can make great advances in art, music, sports, civil rights, a whole plethora of other areas. But there are those who will shoot people down before they can truly shine. Or when you complain about receiving a magic sword, you just might be missing the point. Thank you.